Welcome back everyone. So I was listening to the King's Christmas Day speech, which I've only just got around to catching up on, if I'm honest, and I just wanted to give you my thoughts on what he had to say, for whatever that's worth. Now, to be fair, I thought he actually started off quite well. He spoke about our veterans and the debt that we owe them. He spoke about the Gospels and he spoke about Jesus and he spoke about listening, which is always nice. It's always good to listen, right? But for me, it kind of went downhill a bit after that. I suppose being the king, reading a room that's full of commoners, understandably, isn't going to be easy. And he spoke about the doctors and nurses that have helped him and his family over the last year. And that's fair enough. I'm sure that there are plenty of us that would feel the same way, although I somehow doubt that he'll have ever had to sit in at A&E for 12 hours, wait all day for an ambulance, and he certainly never had to worry about his old mum being left to die in a cold hospital corridor. And he said that we all go through some form of suffering, whether that be mental or physical, and of course he's right, we all do, some more than others of course. And he'd have done well to remember that many of our people, his people, are suffering mentally and physically right now, but they're being ignored, pushed to one side and betrayed, whilst we import thousands of people who haven't contributed a goddamn penny into our system, yet his treacherous government are somehow finding the money to help, house, home and feed them. Listening. He spoke a bit about listening. Not a lot of listening going on here, Charles, I'm afraid. 20 bloody years we've been telling your governments that enough is enough, but they haven't done a lot of listening, mate. To the contrary, every time we ask them to stop the influx, they've just copped a deafen. But I think the low point for me was when he said the following, and I quote the King word for word. He said, "I felt a deep sense of pride here in the United Kingdom when, in response to anger and lawlessness in several towns this summer, communities came together not to repeat these behaviours, but to repair. To repair not just buildings, but relationships. And most importantly, to repair trust by listening and through understanding, deciding how to act for the good of all." Now, please excuse my French, but what a load of absolute bollocks that was. Does he really believe that any of us feel that way? To the contrary, the anger and lawlessness was as a result of his people feeling that they'd been lied to and gaslit by his government. And there were no community repairs that I could see, at least, only more splintering and potential divide. He then went on to speak about trust. And I'd like to ask His Majesty, what trust is he referring to exactly? Trust amongst communities, which is surely at an all-time low. I mean, he'd only have to look out of his bedroom window at Buck House any Saturday afternoon he likes to see evidence of that for himself. Was he perhaps referring to the trust between the people and the police? Surely at an all-time even lower, as they bullied and bashed their way through numerous indigenous communities, arresting anyone that moved or some people that didn't, and especially if they were concerned mums and dads, nans and granddads right across the country, many of whom are still currently in jail or dead. Maybe he was talking about the trust between the people and His Majesty's government, which is, of course, currently completely non-existent because they don't listen, because they won't listen, they never have listened, and they have no intentions of ever listening. Like I said, it's not easy for a king to read a room full of ordinary people, and we should perhaps respect and try and understand that. But it's hard for us. His mother was a great woman and a great queen, but a great king, a great monarch that truly loves and is in touch with his kingdom and his people, should be capable of protecting his kingdom and be a genuine defender of its faith. So how will history remember King Charles III? Well, let's just say he's no Queen Victoria, is he? And we can only hope that William is more in touch with the stark reality and the dangers that his kingdom faces. And if he doesn't, it's possible, I mean really possible, that he could just be the last ever King of England.